Good afternoon. It's about 12:02 or 3 there, and so we'll go ahead and start the meeting. Call it to order, and I've got Tommy Hughes listed as the invocation.
Let's pray. Our gracious God, as we gather today, we seek your wisdom, your guidance, courage and strength in each of us. Help us to be wise in our deliberations. Give us insight to lead with integrity in order that our decision making is for the good of all that we serve. All glory be to you, Lord. Amen.
Yeah, I have the approval of the minutes is the next item. Anybody have a chance to look at those, make any changes, suggestions, changes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, any discussion about it? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, I forgot to announce that Elizabeth Collins and Kristen Odom are with us by phone today. I don't know if they can speak or not. Okay, thank you. I heard somebody sniff, so I suppose they can speak.
Yes, we're here.
Okay, great.
I'm here too.
Great. So, the next thing we have is the Buildings and Ground Committee. It's a follow-up from last month's report from that committee. And I'll ask Joe Poor, the chairman of that committee, to speak on that one.
All right, so last month we had a recommendation to revise the project budget for Blue Ridge related to primarily to construction cost increases and to a small adjustment for square footage. In making that recommendation, when I offered the recommendation of the committee, the motion was worded for a $2.2 million increase, including a $30,000 addition for basically additional engineering cost. So I rounded the number, which was problematic because the total is $2,220,147. So the 2.2 does cover all of the additional building cost. It does not cover, it leaves the engineers about 2/3 short. So the purpose of today is to clarify that nothing has changed since our discussion about it a month ago. Project budget is what it was last month. Design is all the same. But we are going to, I'm bringing to the board a motion to approve increasing the proposed design development budget by $2,220,147, including $30,000 for additional services related to the value engineering of the schematic design. So really the purpose is to make sure that the record is clear on the intent, so we don't have an oopsie at some point in the future.
Okay, that's coming out of committee, so we don't have to have a second on it. Is there any discussion about that? Joe was most interested in doing that once he heard that that was coming out of his trustee salary. Which is zero, by the way. All right, all in favor of accepting the committee recommendation as corrected on the record now today, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, you're off the hook, Joe. We have a executive director's report.
My first request is for you to consider the proposed 2024 holiday closing schedule, holiday/closing schedule.
You guys got the holiday closing schedule in the last email? Is there any discussion about that? I move to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor of the holiday schedule, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Okay. Then the holiday schedule is approved.
Our next item is the state aid agreement and library budget form that, the state library requires us to, requires you all to certify and approve this document in the presence of a quorum.
Okay, for those of you who haven't been around for this part of the duties of the board, we have to send in this state aid agreement form, which is a short form of our multi-page budget that we give to county council and that kind of thing. So but they require us to report, as you saw that attachment to your email, was the with the proposed budget for fiscal year 2024. So if anybody has any questions about that, we'd entertain those now. Okay, I entertain a motion to approve that form as it was sent out, to be sent to the state aid folks in Columbia.
Mr. Chairman, I'm in order to make a motion to accept the state aid and library budget.
Thank you. Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion about that budget? This is already numbers that you've already approved in an earlier budget. This is just a short form of it for their purposes, by the way. No discussion? All in favor of that form being sent down to Columbia, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay. Have signed that. What was our state aid this year per person? You remember?
Oh, per capita, it's up to $2.50 per capita. And they're now using the 2020 census to calculate that.
Okay. I saw where Greenville made it into the top 5 cities. Reader's Digest did a study, and Greenville was the top 5 cities and nicest cities in the U.S. So, according to Reader's Digest, I guess if it had been the unabridged version, it would have been a top 10.
So that's what's encouraging our building and growth.
I'm sure. I'm sure. They heard how nice we were. They haven't been to one of our meetings, obviously.
I'm not answering that.
Yeah. Okay, so to the state, just so you guys know, that the state sends $2.50 per person to say that we're using that new 2020 census. So that was, hopefully that's although that was the one that was taken during COVID when nobody would come to the door. So who knows what that says, but anyhow, hopefully it shows more of our population, and we'll get a bigger cut of the pie with that. Okay, anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay. Unfinished business. With regard to, I know there were some folks who were asking about the policy, the display policy. We had given 90 days, and the motion was that no new displays would be mounted for 90 days or until further notice. And we have we've had some delays due to some unforeseen circumstances with regard to personnel in that operations committee meeting. But there will be an operations committee meeting on October the 13th, which I understand is Friday the 13th. So what could go wrong? But that would be when the additional information would be discuss regarding the display policy at the library. Any new business? Anybody have anything? Okay, we have some speakers today. We have 4 different speakers. And it's written at the top of this form, but since that hasn't been well known in the last few meetings, I'd like to point out that everybody is given 3 minutes to speak, and if you would hold your comments to that length of time to respect everyone else, that would be appreciated. I will let you know when your time is up, and if you would stop speaking and allow the microphone to be used for the next person, appreciate it. The first person that's signed up is Greg Summers.
Good afternoon. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. I just wanted to make a couple brief remarks. Last month, I stood up here and expressed my support for the Board of Trustees and the library, my gratitude for all that is taking place at the library, how it personally benefits myself and my family, and I continue to have those sentiments. Following the meeting, I was approached and spoken to about how it's important that the library be a welcome place, and in fact, I also spoke to the importance that the library be a welcome place. And I wanted to make clear to everyone here that the library is a welcome place for everyone, regardless of any background, but some people seem to have an understanding that in order for the library to be a welcome place, it has to contain certain materials. And I stood up and I'm here also to reiterate that it is important that materials that are available to children should be appropriate for children. However, although that is important, that doesn't exclude that people not be welcome here. Libraries are a wonderful community meeting place. They support education and civic engagement for the entire community. Each of us could share experiences we've had, seeing our neighbors at the library, meeting other families at story time, or benefiting from a special event. Everyone is welcome at the library and should have no reservation about being welcome at the library. All people deserve respect regardless of their beliefs, background, or lifestyle. We deserve respect not because having respectful relations promotes collaboration, but because each of us is an eternal being made in God's image to reflect the greatness of our Creator. Our decisions don't change that. What we do doesn't change that, and not even what others do or think about us changes that. We are valuable humans with innate dignity first and foremost. So what we need to do is use good judgment and wisdom to ensure that materials that are inappropriate for children are not made available to our children. And it is our responsibility as members of the local community to have standards and to effectively apply those standards. Also, it was mentioned that, as I made some comments, I referred to some materials as being obscene because there are materials that are obscene, and it was stated that I was referring to the rainbow as being obscene. I want to clarify that the rainbow is not obscene. I don't know anyone who believes that a rainbow is obscene, but I would like to say that a rainbow is actually a sign of God's mercy. You see, many, many years ago, there was a man named Noah.
Thank you. I'm sorry, that's 3 minutes, but thank you. Next person is James Sharkey.
Good afternoon, board members, Chairman Hill, and to my friends on the right and on the left. My name is James Sharkey. I have lived in Greenville County for a grand total of 6 weeks. And I love it here. I'm very happy to live here. I spent the last 40 years of my life in the state of Illinois. Sadly, During that time, I had to watch as the radical progressives, Democrats, and Marxists turned a world-class city into an unlivable hellhole. I did not move here to see the same progressive nightmare unfold in my wonderful new home in South Carolina. And so to you, Chairman Hill, and to every board member here who defends our children from the attacks of the radical left, we recognize your courage. We thank you. It is not easy. We get it. But right now you have thousands of parents praying for you. We are behind you, and we will stand against anyone who targets our children with messages of sexual confusion. We honor you for your courage, and we join you in this sacred and God-honoring battle. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person is Claire Walsh.
Hi, my name is Claire Walsh. I'm a citizen of Travelers Rest, and though it may not sound like it, we've lived down here for 34 years. Our family moved down here because the North was just becoming too much away from God, and we wanted our children to be raised in an area where God was first. I want to commend our library board on all they have done for our library, all they have done for our community. I started going to the TR library when my kids were very young, when it was a little room, and I continued to go to the TR library now with my grandchildren. And I am here today because I am concerned about the fact that people want to have books in the children's department that are not for children. I have no problem if you want to raise your children a certain way and teach them certain things. However, you can check out any book in the library you want and give it to your child to read. But I don't want my grandchildren to be going through the children's section and come across a book that is sexually explicit. Last month, there was someone up here expressing their concern for the traumatic effect on their child if they couldn't find a book in the children's section about their lifestyle and their home life. Well, I grew up in a Catholic family with 9 children, a dad who worked 2 jobs, and I never found a book in the library about my lifestyle then. I also grew up at a school with a child who was handicapped, who wore a full body cast for the 1 year of her elementary school life. At that time, there were no books in the library about handicapped kids like that. Neither one of us suffered traumatic injury to our emotional well-being because there were no books about that in our library. And I appreciate and would like to see continued for our library board to remove these books from the children's department. Thank you.
The next person is Tyler, I think it's Driscoll. I'm sorry if that's not correct.
No worries, it's Tyler Prescott.
Prescott?
That's right.
I'm sorry, the D looked like the P looked like a D, sorry.
No worries at all. Good afternoon, Board of Trustees. Thank you for having me. Thank you for putting on this allowing the public to speak here today. I'd like to share my thoughts today about the library display policy while we're thoughtfully researching. This is clearly a contentious topic that requires a robust policy from you all. I appreciate you all being so thoughtful as you research this. I look forward to attending your meeting on October 13th. And I would like to say I agree with the previous speaker. The library should have books that represent all types of diversity in our community. If there's one thing the library should love, is research. So that's what I did in preparation to speak today. I looked for a library policy that comes from a county similar to ours, with a clearly laid out dispute policy that sheds some sunlight on how many disputes are actually filed. I plead with you to build strong policies and trust your librarians to do their job. I found a policy from Clearwater, Florida that represents a county demographically very similar to ours. And for as much time as I have, I will read that policy to you. It says, in the event a patron has questions or concerns regarding a library display, the following procedure should be used. The patron is referred to a professional staff member. The staff member makes every attempt to satisfy the patron's concern by clarifying the established display policies on an informal, positive, one-on-one basis. After the interview, the staff member notifies the library director in a brief written statement as to the date, circumstances, and result of the patron's concern. Patron who wishes to pursue their question further is referred to the library director or their designated alternate as soon as possible. A concern taken to this level constitutes a formalized complaint. During the interview with the patron, the director or designated alternate fills out one copy of the request for reconsideration of library material form. The director then appoints a 3-member committee of professional staff members to review the display in question and prepare a written recommendation within 10 days. The director makes a decision based off of the committee's recommendation. The director notifies the patron in writing of the decision within 5 working days of receiving the committee's recommendation. Patron who wishes to make their objection known even further can forward their complaint directly to the chairperson of the library board for consideration at the next regularly scheduled board meeting. A copy of the complaint submitted to the board is forwarded to the office of the city manager, or county manager. The library board sends the recommendation to the library director. The library director then reviews their original decision in the context of the board recommendation and confirms or sends a revised opinion to the patron in writing, with a copy sent to the library board and to the office of the county manager. What I'd like to say here today is the policy we have in effect is clearly not working. You all understand that. You're meeting on October 13th to decide on a new policy. Us standing up here regularly sharing complaints and grievances with you is not fun for anybody in attendance. And I would urge you to reconsider the grievance process as well as the displays you allow to stand. Please, please, please trust the policies you have in place, build robust policies, and trust your staff to do their job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I don't have anything else on the calendar, and there's nobody else signed up to speak. So I entertain a motion to adjourn. Second? All in favor say aye. All opposed? Nobody's opposed to adjourn? Thank you.